Victory. FG declares Thursday, Friday public holidays. Trump's counter-terrorism chief resigns over Iran war. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on the news around the world on BCOS television. I am Ifeoluwa Olaoye, and on the sign language corner is Precious Anthony. The federal government of Nigeria has declared Thursday, 19th March and Friday, 20th March 2026 as public holidays to mark the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, which signifies the end of the holy month of Ramadan. This was made known on Tuesday in a statement signed by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, Magdalene Ajani. The Minister of Interior, Olubomi Tunji-Ojo, who made the declaration, extended warm greetings and heartfelt congratulations to the Muslim faithful on the successful completion of Ramadan. The minister urged Muslims to sustain the virtues of love, generosity, peace, tolerance, and sacrifice emphasized during the holy month. He also called on all Nigerians to use the festive period to pray for the continued peace, unity, and prosperity of the nation. Islamic scholars have continued to enlighten Muslim faithful on the importance and guidelines of Zakatul Fitri, the charity given at the end of the Ramadan fast. Staff reporter Adebayo Abdurrafil reports on the significance of Zakatul Fitri as an obligation associated with Ramadan fasting. His report.
As Muslims begin to round off the Ramadan fast, one of the key obligations that accompanies the observance is Zakatul Fitri. Islamic scholars say the charity serves as purification for the fasting person and also provides food for the less privileged, encouraging believers to demonstrate generosity, compassion, and social responsibility. They explained that the majority of scholars consider Zakatul Fitri compulsory for every mature Muslim, both male and female, who possesses the financial means. The obligation, they added, also extends to members of one's household, including children and dependents. Alhaji Taufik Akinola and Ustaz Abdul Wahid Arawi further highlight the essence of Zakatul Fitri.
Zakatul Fitri is a special harm that Islam has recommended to be given out in form of food grains at the end of the Ramadan. Its purpose is to ensure that every Muslim are able to be in a good mood during the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, and has been given a kind of specific portion to be given.
It is obligatory on all Muslims. As long as you recognize yourself as Muslim, it is obligatory. And secondly, the essence is to purify our fasting, to make it acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And secondly, is to make food available for those who are unable to afford to. So if someone is not able to afford to give us Zakatul Fitri, if he can only give for himself and not his family, then Allah does not actually place a burden beyond what we can bear on us. So as long as we can afford it, it's advisable.
According to the scholars, the prescribed measure of Zakatul Fitri is 4 mudus of staple food per person, which may include items such as rice, beans, or gari. In practical terms, this is often measured as the equivalent of about 12 milk tins of staple food for each person. The food can either be given to one needy person or shared among several beneficiaries.
You can use the grain that is commonly consumed within our environment, just like rice, just like beans, just like corn and some other things. But people have come to say that we must be able to give something that will be meaningful, that we can easily comfortable to be eating, to be putting on the table on the day of Eid.
If we want to use the tin milk to measure it, the tin of milk, that we can use between 12 to 16 tin milk. So advisable, we should go for the upper limit, which is 16. So that means if I'm about 6 people in my household, that means the obligation is to, if I want to use rice, so I'll use 16 cups for me and for every one of us. So once I buy the whole thing, I will just measure it out and then we'll give out to those who are in need. If I don't know anybody who is in need, that's why we have masjid around. We can always take it. Most of them, they actually collect those food and they actually distribute it to those who are in need.
Meanwhile, the scholars also shared different perspectives on the appropriate time for giving Zakatul Fitri, while Alhaji Akinola explained that it can be distributed a day or two before the Eid celebration to allow enough time for distribution. Ustaz Aroye maintained that the best time is between the last day of Ramadan and the morning of Eid, although the preferred form of payment is food items. Some scholars note that in certain circumstances, the monetary equivalent may be given, particularly when it is more practical for reaching those in need. As some said, Zakatul Fitri should only be about food items. Adebayo Abdurafi, BCOS News.
President Bola Tinubu and First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu has touched down at Stansted Airport on Tuesday. This marks the start of a landmark state visit to the United Kingdom. The President and the First Lady would be guests of King Charles III and Queen Camilla at Windsor Castle from March 18 to 19. President Tinubu is also the first Nigerian leader to be hosted by the British monarch at Windsor Castle. The visit will feature a state banquet hosted by the royal family in honor of the Nigerian guests and private discussions between the king and the president. The king and the president will also meet with organizations engaged in interfaith dialogue, both nationally and internationally. President Tinubu will hold a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Keir Starmer at 10 Downing Street, which will lead to expanded bilateral engagements between senior officials of both countries. The meeting will culminate in the signing of various memoranda of understanding and agreements, including those on trade, investment, defense, and cultural cooperation. The federal government has introduced a new consumer credit product, Fly Now, Pay Later, aimed at making domestic air travel more accessible to Nigerians. The Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation disclosed this on Tuesday in an announcement posted on its X handle. It stated that the initiative will allow eligible customers to book local flights and repay the cost over time through structured financing. According to Credicor, the scheme is designed to remove the upfront financial barrier that often delays important trips for many Nigerians. Through this initiative, eligible customers can book domestic flights today and repay the cost over time through structured financing, removing the upfront barrier that often delays important trips. President Bola Tinubu has directed all service chiefs to move to Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, following the recent surge of terrorist attacks in the state. President Tinubu made this known in a statement he personally signed and made available to reporters on Tuesday following the Monday evening bomb attack that claimed the lives of at least 23 people. The president, who commiserated with the Borno people over recent terror strikes, assured that the Nigerian military is winning the war against the insurgents. It revealed the approval of additional equipment and operational support to enhance their capabilities during a security meeting with leaders of security and intelligence agencies last week. We shall now take a short commercial break. Please stay tuned.
Your share of 3 billion naira with Nivea. 1,000 naira airtime guaranteed with every entry. Become one of 10 millionaires weekly or win a chance to see Real Madrid live. 3 SUVs to be won. Buy any Nivea 400ml promo product, scratch and dial to enter.
Alright everyone, no put your ears, make we talk. Time don't reach to rearrange this house to give us small wisdom. Sounds mighty fresh now, but you know, I beg no be so. Before I go talk, say our smile no reach. Make not think I'm twice so. Ever heard of Colgate, the #1 oral care brand in the world?
Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection unlocks 24 hours cavity defense. The formula boost with calcium for lifelong smiles.
Mom, it's a time to brush. No more cover mouth.
Colgate for 24 hours maximum protection.
Win your share of 3 billion naira with Nivea. 1,000 naira airtime guaranteed with every entry. Become one of 10 millionaires weekly or win a chance to see Real Madrid live. 3 SUVs to be won. Buy any Nivea 400ml promo product, scratch and dial to enter.
Thank you for staying with us. The recent surge in political defections across Nigeria has become more than a passing trend. It is now a defining feature of the country's democratic experience. What should ordinarily signal ideological realignment has instead taken on the appearance of strategic migration towards power, raising serious concerns about the direction of the nation's political system. Political analyst Honorable Tallest Innocent and Adebimpe Adeoluwa of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, Oyo State Chapter, made this known while participating on the BCOS News and Current Affairs live interview program, Matters Arising. Our reporter, Oyeshile Oloyede, monitored the program. Our report is presented by Bimbo Akombi.
Happenings in Nigeria today is something many people can see, even without following politics closely. Politicians are moving from one party to another too often, and it is beginning to look less like a decision based on belief and a more like a move for personal gain. Voters give their mandate based on trust in a candidate and the platform they represent. When that platform is abandoned without clear justification, it raises concerns about whose interests are truly being served. It begins to look like the system is more about individuals than the people they were elected to represent. Political analyst Honorable Tallest Innocent criticized the current state of affairs in the country, stating that leaders are more preoccupied with defecting from one party to another than addressing the nation's pressing issues. According to him, while political defections from one party to another may be considered a normal feature of democratic practice, it is fundamentally inappropriate for such transitions to occur without leaving the mandate originally conferred on the individual.
If you look at what is going on, it's not that these people are going into APC for any good thing to happen to the masses, just for their own selfish interest. After the defection, what is happening in the country is still happening. So what is the sense of jumping from one party to another instead of trying to fix the common problem we have in this country, insecurity? If you are jumping, maybe you want to sit down, plan on how to tackle the insecurity or the light issue or the water issue, health issue, school education. It could have been a better thing. But just look at their intents. What they are planning now is 2027. Nobody cares about the people that is dying.
Representative of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Oyo State Chapter, Adebimpe, emphasized that while freedom of association is a fundamental political right, it must be exercised responsibly. He stated that it is ethically wrong for a leader to retain a party mandate after defecting to another party. He stressed that international bodies should take notice of the situation in Nigeria, noting that the underlying problem stems from the absence of a well-structured political system.
Many are so overwhelmed and then be clouded by their ambitions, self-serving ambitions, because there is no justification to have abandoned the party which gave you mandate in the first place. Then at what point your ideological beliefs change that makes you are the carrier of the party ideology, you are the carrier of the party manifesto, you are the carrier of party policies. But at the point, you just abandon all those things and then you moved away to another camp. Nothing except for that self-serving purpose.
They further urged that political parties in Nigeria be strengthened to play their proper role in a functioning democracy. Strong parties with clear structures, internal accountability, and transparent decision-making processes can reduce opportunistic defections and ensure that leaders remain committed to the platforms on which they were elected.
Debate has continued to trail moves to criminalize dual party registration in Nigeria, with stakeholders expressing mixed reactions over its potential impact on the nation's political system. Featuring on BCOS Current Affairs Yoruba program, Kutu High, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Musibao Adetumbi, and a politician, Sheun Adelore, described the proposed step as a welcome development. Staff reporter Adebayo Abdurrahman monitored the program and files in the details.
The Nigeria's lower legislative chamber, the House of Representatives, recently proposed an amendment into the nation's Electoral Act, criminalizing dual membership of political parties. Under the amendment, anyone found guilty of belonging to multiple political parties simultaneously could face a fine of 10 million naira, a maximum prison term of 3 years, or both. The proposed amendment introduces 3 new subsections to Section 77 of the Act, which deals with political party membership. The provision states that any individual discovered to be registered in more than one political party at the same time will have such memberships declared invalid. Speaking on BCOS Current Affairs program, Kutu High, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Musibao Adetumbi, described the proposed step as a welcome development, noting that it aligns with the principle that no individual can be loyal to 2 political parties at the same time. He stated that the move will ensure that people's conscience guides their political actions. However, the senior lawyer expressed concern that have failed to achieve desired results due to weak enforcement.
Right from the beginning of this democracy, that's as far back as 1999, we have in our constitution that if you are a member of either National Assembly, House of Representatives, or a State House of Assembly, you cannot cross to any political party without resigning your position, unless there's a sharp division in your political party. But all of us, we are living witnesses to the fact that without any division or whatever, people are crossing over to their political party without resigning their position, and nothing is going to happen, and nothing has been happening. So it's not about the law, it's about our sincerity of mind.
Adetumbi added that unlike in the past, when political parties were driven by clear ideologies, the current political landscape is characterized by a lack of ideological commitment, with politicians frequently switching allegiances. Also speaking, a politician, Sheun Adelore, described the proposed penalty of 3 years imprisonment or a 10 million naira fine as excessive when compared to the nature of the offense. Despite his reservations, Adelore welcomed the initiative, saying it will discourage individuals from seeking political benefits from multiple parties and encourage greater commitment and conviction among party members.
It's better to be consistent and to stay with one party, because not everybody are in the political parties. Only few people are doing partisan politics. What about the generality of people? You understand, that will be, that will be stuck with the choice of those of us that are in politics. So, for integrity's sake, because of your future, because of the name, stay in one place. Let us know you with one party. I think it's a good one. That will streamline a lot of things.
Analysts say, while the move to criminalize dual party registration may promote discipline within political parties, its success will largely depend on effective implementation to enforce existing laws. Adebayo Abdurrahman, BCOS News.
Another timeout. Please don't go away.
Ramadan, it's not the season to hide, it's the season to let my beauty shine. Nivea Nourishing Cocoa Lotion 5-in-1 Complete Care. Discover deep nourishment with cocoa butter, deep moisture serum, and vitamin E for long-lasting moisture and protection from dry and ashy skin without the greasy feel. Get the Nivea Nourishing Cocoa Glow this Ramadan. Skin is for always shining. Nivea is for skin.
The holy month of Ramadan is here again, a month to submit to the will of Allah, a month to share, a month to care, and most importantly, a month of goodness. Start well and end well with the goodness of peak milk. at Sahar and Iftar and share the nourishing goodness of peak milk with everyone around you. Ramadan Kareem.
Peak. Reach for your peak.
You're welcome back. There is a need for intensified efforts by the executive arm of government through the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Inclusion to evacuate destitute persons from major streets and other public places in Oyo State. The House made the call after considering a motion presented by Honorable Gabriel Adebayo, representing Ibadan North 2 constituency. BCOS reporter Olamipo Shola, who covered the plenary, brings the details.
The plenary session of the Oyo State House of Assembly, under the leadership of the Speaker, Honorable Adebo Ogundoyin, began with the presentation of the report by the House Committee on Local Government, Chieftaincy Matters and State Honors, which examined the capital budget proposals for 2026 from all the 33 local government areas. The report presented by Honorable Akintunde Olajide, Chairman of the committee, received unanimous adoption by the House.
The committee hereby recommends for the approval of the House as follows. That 1. Pursuant to the section 1923 of the Local Government Law 2001 as amended, funds are specified in hereunder as capital expenditure be approved for the 33 local government in areas in the state. 2. The detailed breakdown of the approved capital expenditure be communicated to the various local government areas through the Committee on Local Government Chieftaincy Matters and State Honors. 3. All chairmen of the local government are to present their subsequent current budget from their respective legislative council for the approval.
A motion titled "The Need for Intensified Efforts Towards Evacuating Destitute Individuals." Also, a motion titled "The Need for Intensified Efforts Toward Evacuating Destitute Individuals from Major Streets and Public Places in Oyo State" was presented by Honorable Babajide Adebayo, representing Ibadan North 2 constituency, urged the executive arm of government to act through the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Inclusion. According to Honorable Adebayo, the state faces significant issues with destitute individuals occupying major streets, road medians, markets, and other public places, thereby constituting a public nuisance and environmental concerns.
Aware that government of Oyo State, under the leadership of Its Excellency Dr. Shemakinde, has demonstrated commitment of social welfare and human governance through several interventions aimed at improving the well-being of vulnerable citizens. Further aware that Oyo State government, through the Ministry of Human Affairs and Social Inclusion, frequently evacuates a number of diseases, which include beggar, mentally ill people, and street children from major streets in Ibadan, and linking them to a government rehabilitation and resettlement center.
Some lawmakers voiced their apprehensions regarding the rising number of destitute individuals in the state. The House also considered a motion tabled by Honorable Sanjo Adedoyin, the House leader, regarding the imperative to swiftly address the issue of unlicensed foreign cashew buyers operating at farm gates in order to drive the cashew value chain towards inclusive growth and industrialization in Oyo State. The motion co-sponsored by Honorable Peter Ojedokun, Ibarapa North Central, Honorable Rasak Mobaje, Ido, and Honorable Akintunde Olajide, Lagelu constituency, urged the Oyo State Agribusiness Development Agency to proactively ban all unlicensed foreign nationals from purchasing raw cashew directly at farm gates in cashew-producing communities across the state. The House has adjourned its proceedings till next week Tuesday. Olamipo Ishola, BCOS News.
The Oyo State Police Command has discovered the lifeless body on an unidentified woman within the Egbeda area of Ibadan. A report was received at the Egbeda Divisional Police Headquarters by a Good Samaritan who said he observed the lifeless body lying inside a nearby drainage channel upon arriving at his car wash stand located around Ilemarun, Iwo Road along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Photographs of the scene were taken and the corpse have been evacuated and deposited at the Adeoyo State Hospital mortuary, Ring Road, Ibadan, for preservation and autopsy. Investigation has commenced and efforts are ongoing to ascertain the identity of the deceased as well as circumstances surrounding the incident. The Oyo State Police Command hereby appeals to members of the public, particularly individuals whose female family members or relatives are currently missing, to report to the Egbeda Divisional Police Headquarters or contact the nearest police station to assist in identifying the deceased. Such cooperation will greatly aid the ongoing investigation. The Oyo State Police Command has recovered rustled cattle and arrested 4 suspected cattle rustlers following a swift response to a distress report from Ado-Awaye Division. Upon receipt of the report, the divisional police officer immediately mobilized a combined team of police operatives and local security partners, including vigilantes, to the scene. The coordinated response led to the timely interception of the suspects and ultimately the successful recovery of the rustled cattle. The police and vigilante group immediately commenced intensive bush combing and a coordinated manhunt for the fleeing criminals, which led to the arrest of suspects. The command further urged members of the public to remain vigilant and continue to provide credible information to security agencies. The Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, BCOS, has organized an orientation program for newly recruited contract staff aimed at acquainting them with the organization's structure, culture, and code of culture. Hawaii Ibrahim reports from the program held within the corporation. The report is presented by Adebayo Abdurrafi.
In a bid to strengthen professionalism and operational efficiency, the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, BCOS, organized an orientation program for its newly recruited contract staff. The session provided an interactive platform for the new employees to meet and engage with members of the management team while gaining insights into the workings of the organization. In her remarks, the executive chairman of BCOS, Chief Mrs. Dotun Olaiton, emphasized the importance of professionalism and discipline in the workplace. She urged the staff to study and strictly adhere to the corporation's code of conduct, especially the dress code, noting that as a government-owned establishment, all employees must maintain a high standard of appearance at all times. Chief Mrs. Olaiton also encouraged the new recruits to be diligent, honest, and committed to personal development, stressing that self-improvement could open doors to greater opportunities.
Your start will determine your finish. So I want to implore you to start well. Be diligent, be hardworking, be honest, be truthful, be professional, be the best at what you do. You can learn what you don't know. That is to tell you, you don't stay on one knowledge. Never be a distant degrees and added knowledge, AI, whatever, online things. Improve yourself day by day.
While reiterating that the organization operates within clearly defined rules and regulations, the BCOS Director of Administration and Supplies, Mr. Abiola Olawale, emphasized that compliance with the code of conduct is not optional, but mandatory.
Your conduct as regards your job, your conduct as regards your relationship to equipment, to personnel, both senior and junior. This is a government office. I will read this out for you. Each of you will have a copy which we append your signature and submit back to us.
The orientation program forms part of the corporation's efforts to build a competent, disciplined, and professional workforce dedicated to excellence in service delivery. The program was attended by members of the management team of the corporation and the newly recruited staff, who were formally welcomed into the organization.
Odua Investment Company Limited, OICL, has announced the completion of its acquisition of a 10% minority equity stake in an issued share capital of FCMB Pensions Limited, a subsidiary of FCMB Group PLC. The acquisition follows the receipt of the requisite approvals from the regulatory authorities, the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, and the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, with the Securities and Exchange Commission duly notified. The transaction represents a strategic investment by Odua in Nigeria's growing pension industry, a resilient and steadily expanding segment of the country's financial services sector. The group chairman of Odua Investment Company Limited, Otumba Bimbo Ashiru, said the investment reflects Odua's strategy of collaborating with strong institutions operating in sectors that are central to Nigeria's long-term economic stability and growth. The group managing director of Odua Investment Company Limited, Mr. Abdurrahman Yinusa, said the partnership with FCMB Group PLC reflects confidence in FCMB Pensions strategy, leadership, and long-term potential. He added that the duo will expand its reach, support its strategic objectives, and deliver sustained value to contributors and other stakeholders. Odua Investment Company Limited is a leading investment holding company jointly owned by the governments of the 6 southwest states of Nigeria, with a mandate to generate sustainable economic value and support regional development. Over now to Sports Desk.
On the sports segment of the news tonight, I am Victor Opone.
Iran's Football Federation is in discussions with FIFA about moving its World Cup 2026 matches from the United States to tournament coast Mexico due to concerns about the safety of players. As according to a statement by Iranian football president Mehdi Taj. The Iranian sports minister said last week its players could not participate in football's global showpiece after the US and Israel launched air attacks on the country in late February, killing the supreme leader and several other political and military leaders. Trump has said the Iranian team is welcome to participate, but suggested it might not be appropriate for them to play in the country for their own life and safety. Iran qualified for the 48-team tournament to be held in the US, Canada, and Mexico from June 11 and are scheduled to play 2 group matches in Los Angeles and 1 in Seattle. They were the first Asian nation to qualify for the World Cup, securing their spots on the 25th of March 2025. Real Madrid striker Kylian Mbappe is fit to face Manchester City in the second leg of their Champions League last 16 tie, but midfielder Jude Bellingham would not feature despite traveling over for the match. The 27-year-old France international Mbappe was diagnosed with a left knee sprain at the beginning of March and has been missing from Real's lineup since their La Liga game against Osasuna on the 21st of February. Bellingham sustained an hamstring injury less than 10 minutes into a league game against Rayo Vallecano on 1st of February and left the field in tears. The 22-year-old midfielder had initially been expected to miss about 4 weeks, but the injury was found to be more significant than first thought. Bellingham was included in tonight's traveling party for Real Madrid, but boss Alvaro Arbeloa said he would not feature against City. And as we wrap up, Brighton should have been awarded a penalty in their 1-0 loss at home to Arsenal on the 4th of March, the Premier League's key match incident, KMI panel has said. It is the third time this season Arsenal have wrongly escaped a VAR penalty in a game they have won by a 1 goal. The Seagulls were trailing into Bukayo Saka's 9th-minute goal when they pushed forward in the 3rd minute of first half stoppage time. After a cross was delivered from the left, Brighton midfielder Matt Weaver tried to run into the box towards the flight of the ball, but was hauled to the ground by Gabriel Martinelli. Referee Chris Kavanagh allowed play to continue, and it was cleared by the video assistant referee Michael Salisbury. Fabian Ozilla complained to 4th official David Webb, and the Brighton boss ended up exchanging words with Mikel Arteta on the touchline. The Premier League match centre wrote on X that the VAR deemed there was no clear and obvious error, but the KMI panel voted 4-1 that a spot kick should have been awarded on the field, and 3-2 that it was missed by the VAR on intervention.
And with that, it's a wrap on the sports segment of the news. Thank you for joining. Over now to the main desk for the rest of the news.
And on the foreign scene, a senior U.S. counterterrorism official, Joseph Kent, has resigned on Tuesday to protest the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran. He added that the Islamic Republic posed no imminent threat to the United States. The director of the National Counterterrorism Center, NCTC, said in his resignation letter to President Donald Trump that he cannot, in good conscience, support the ongoing war in Iran. Kent, who was appointed to head the NCTC by Trump, is the first senior U.S. official to resign from his administration to protest the war against Iran. Kent's wife, Shannon, also served in the U.S. military and was killed in a suicide bombing in Syria in 2019. Argentina on Tuesday formally withdrew from the World Health Organization. The foreign minister said this following the path of the United States, which took the same step earlier this year. The government of President Javier Milei, a close ally of President Donald Trump, had announced its intention to leave the UN health body a year ago, criticizing the WHO's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. The foreign ministry said Argentina has now completed the withdrawal process within the time frame stipulated by international treaties. Last year, Argentina declared the WHO's recommendation ineffective because they are based on political interests. To end the news around the world, here again are the main points. The federal government of Nigeria has declared Thursday, 19 March and Friday, 20th March 2026 as public holidays to mark the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, which signifies the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Oyo State House of Assembly emphasized the need for intensified efforts by the executive arm of government through the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Inclusion to evacuate destitute persons from major streets and other public places in Oyo State. On the foreign scene, a senior U.S. counterterrorism official, Joseph Kent, has resigned on Tuesday to protest the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran. BCOS website is live. Kindly visit www.bcostv.com. You can watch us on GoTV channel 134 and channel 113 on StarTimes. Now, before I go, don't join hoodlums in threatening the peaceful coexistence of the country. It is only in an atmosphere of peace that development thrives. That ends the news around the world. Thank you for watching. Good evening.
Bíbélì wípé ẹ̀bùn ènìyàn a máa fi àyè fún a sì máa mú wá síwájú àwọn ènìyàn ńlá. Ìdí nìyí tí ìgbìmọ̀ àjíǹde ilé akéde BCOS fi ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ ìfigagbága nínú Bíbélì láàrin àwọn ọmọdé tí ọjọ́ orí wọn ò ju ọdún 6 sí ọdún 9 àti ọdún 10 sí ọdún 15 lọ. Èyí tí ó máa wáyé ní ọjọ́ kẹta àti ọjọ́ kẹrin oṣù kẹrin ọdún 2026. Ẹgbẹ̀rún méjì péré 2,000 naira ní owó fọ́ọ̀mù tí ẹ ó gbà fún ọmọ yín láti kópa nínú ìfigagbága náà. Àwọn ẹ̀bùn rabandẹ̀ ló níranran láti pèsè kalẹ̀ fún àwọn ọmọ tó bá jáwé olúborí ní sọ̀rí ìsọ̀rí. Láti ra fọ́ọ̀mù, láti ṣonígbọ̀wọ́ àti fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ ẹ kàn sí yàrá kejì ní ilé akéde BCOS oríta Basọ̀run Ìbàdàn tàbí kẹ́ ẹ pè 0915-8703-300. Ẹ wá gbọ́ o, ẹ mọ́ fi jáfara. Ìparí oṣù kẹta ọdún yìí ni gbígba fọ́ọ̀mù ó mọ̀ wá sópin. Ẹ tètè wá já ti yín.
Kéré o, ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló pàrokò ìbéèrè ránṣẹ́ sí yín ká lè jọmọ bó ṣe ń lọ. Wọ́n ní ǹjẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ pé ní báyìí ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ńlá ni kéèyàn já yanrìn wọ́rọ̀kúta ọparun òkúta lílà àtàwọn èròjà àkọlé sójú pópó. Ṣé ẹ mọ̀ pé ẹ̀yìn àmọ̀ kì í ṣe lé ìgbín bẹ́ẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ lójú pópó kì í ṣàyè ìgbọ́kọ̀ tó ti godó sí. Bóyá lẹ mọ̀ pé ìwà ìbìkítà wọ̀nyí ló ń sọ àwọn òpópónà tó fẹ̀ dáadáa di tórótó ṣàkóbá fún lílọ bíbọ̀ gerege ọkọ̀. Àníṣẹ́ àṣà pálapàla ìlòkulò àwọn ọ̀nà tíjọba fowó gọbọi ṣe ló ń ṣokùnfà ìdíbàjẹ́ wọn láìtọ́jọ́ tó sì ń gbọ́n owó tùlù tó yẹ kó lọ sórí ìpèsè àwọn ohun amáyédẹrùn míì lọ lákòótó ọba. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹ wá gbọ́ àjèjì ọwọ́ kan ò gbẹ́rù dórí níjọba ṣe fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ gbárùkù ti òun fún ìrànlọ́wọ́ ara wa pé ká ní àyípadà ọkàn sí bá a ṣe ń lo dúkìá ìlú ká má bàa farakátà òfin tó tayéye. Àjẹ́ pé ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń kọ́lé lọ́wọ́ nírònà àtàbádẹ́kọ́lé gan-an tẹ́ ẹ kúrò jíjá èròjà ìkọ́lé sójú pópó ẹ̀yà ajẹ́kórókè fáǹfààní mùtúmùwà tó ń lo òpópónà. Kékulé ó gbọ́ ó sọ fún toko kánò ó gbọ́ kóròyìn fóbẹ̀ pé láti àkókò yìí lọ ìjọba bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí fi ọwọ́ ṣẹ̀kún òfin tó gbóná girigiri mú ẹni yòówù tó bá já èlò kọ́lé tàbí gbé òkú ọkọ̀ sójú títì ṣe ìdíwọ́ fún ìjágeere lílọ bíbọ̀ ọkọ̀. Torí náà ẹ wá gbo dẹ́kun fún ìwà ìlákàsí ẹ bọ̀wọ̀ fófin àlàáfíà àyíká àti tìrìnà lójú pópó káwùjọ wa lè dùn wò kó rẹwà láti gbé fún tonílé tàlejò. Ká máa rántí pé awífúnni kó tó dání àgbà àjàkadì ní o. Ilé iṣẹ́ BCOS ló ń kí gbogbo wa nílọ̀ pé ìgbọràn sàn jẹbọ rírú.
Lassa fever, the hemorrhagic fever caused by the Lassa virus transmitted by rats and rodents, has broken out in some parts of Oyo State. In view of this, citizens and residents of the state are to please watch out for symptoms of Lassa fever around them, which are general weakness, malaise, headache, sore throat, muscle pain, chest pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, cough, and abdominal pain. However, the Oyo State government has called for continued comprehensive contact tracing and health surveillance in the affected areas to monitor and provide timely intervention for affected individuals and high-risk contacts. Also, the establishment of Lassa Fever Screening Center to assist in early detection, isolation of cases, and treatment to reduce the risk of community transmission. To avoid being infected, do well to cover your food items properly and keep rats and other rodents far from your environment. Protect yourself when you're around an infected person. This announcement is powered by the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State.
Confirmed. Thank you, ma.
Card don't finish, oh.